injured Vasil Lomachenko to win a belt that he would never have won had he been healthy. Or
guys, what's up? The prelims, the undercard of the Lopez-Taylor fight is on. So I'm actually watching the prelims now, the UFC 289 in Canada. As the main card will come on for the Lopez-Taylor fight, I'll put it on. For now, to avoid any sort of streaming issues, we're going to leave this on.
He can still be useful for top when he was with the company fighting lesser opposition. Taylor's ability to trash talk makes him valuable to Top Rank in an Adrian Broner sort of way. Question: what do you think about Ryan Garcia training with Derek James after his loss to Tank Davis? Uncle George said, I think it's a good move. Derek James is a very competent trainer. However, I feel Ryan Garcia is often distracted and lacks focus.
So like I said, we'll leave this on
like Derek
until I'm finishing watching the UFC prelims. This is the Miranda Manic Jazovicius fight. But when the main card starts, when Lopez-Taylor starts, I'll put it on.
George's response: I think Ryan took a good body shot. The question is, could he have gotten up after that? He needs to prove himself and to everyone that he can recover from a loss like that. Question: what do you think about Rawley's recent fight? George's answer: I think the fight was stopped prematurely. Both fighters could have had their moments if the fight was.
I'm going to put the boxing on in about a minute. I've got some action on the UFC, so.
Question: what are your thoughts on Teo fighting Josh?
You know what? She's getting worked. I'm gonna put it on now.
Josh is a naturally good 140. He's a very good to the body. I would give Josh Taylor the edge, but you can't rule out Lopez. Last one, guys. The question is, what changes have you noticed in Teofimo Lopez after your fight with him? George's response: his confidence. He's just not the same guy anymore. He got damaged in our fight, and since then, he hasn't looked well. And that is the topic, guys. What do you think? Let's just focus today on Teo and what George said about him. Is this another example? Because this happens all the time, and I don't blame George for going there. With an opponent judging and kind of gatekeeping on a fighter that they beat to maybe withstand their sort of place.
All right, so they're reading the result now.
Boxing has weight classes for a reason.
Oh, there's a head clash.
George might be saying this to take emphasis off of his 2 losses to Devin, and also speaking.
So these undercards are still on.
To give George some social currency that Kambosos did it to Teo, saying that he hasn't looked the same since his loss to George. Interesting. If George goes out
so a head clash.
His next fight, what do you think Devin Haney's going to say? This is the sort of back and forth that boxers go through. What do you guys think? Does Josh Taylor beat Lopez? Is Kambosos correct about his acknowledgement about Lopez looking different? Also, what do you think about what George said with Lomachenko? Do you think that Loma was injured? Is Teo a one-hit wonder? A lot of this stuff to cover. Let me know what you think in the comment section below.
It's confidence. That confidence not there anymore. You take a damaging fight. Well, we both took damage in that fight. We're never going to come out of that fight the same person we walked in as. But I came out the winner, and I moved on to what I had to move on to. He came out losing that fight, but the way he lost it as well, he got damaged in that fight. So a lot of people say it's damage goods. A lot of people say that it souls make fights. The guys that the 2 guys that he fought, that he's got victories after one fight. But look, guys, we'll see against Josh Taylor. It's an interesting fight, and I'll be watching.
It's easy to find a domain name that suits your business and helps to protect your brand online. No wonder so many Aussies trust us with their domains. Get a domain that works for you. Go for it at godaddy.com.au.
Ken knew the names of most fishes. Not all, just most. and with savings from packaging his flight and hotel, he planned on meeting more. You were made to enjoy the earth. We were made to put it in a package.
Jaime Munguia versus Charlo. Listen, we won the fight, obviously. And Charlo's the champion. He gets the bigger cut. We all know that. That's common sense. Showtime, yes, you have the fight on Showtime pay-per-view, but I need the zone to participate. They built Jaime Munguia. That's only fair. It's business. More platforms, more pay-per-views, more money for the fighters. What's wrong with that? If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and enjoy the show. With his upcoming fight against Sergey Derevyanchenko, Jaime Munguia is making headlines for his willingness to call out Charlo. In May of 2018, Gennady Golovkin was in search of a new opponent after Canelo Alvarez was suspended for testing positive for banned substance. As one of the most coveted fights in the sport at the time, fighters in the neighborhood of 160 pounds lined up for the opportunity, having their attorneys and press agents issue releases confirming their readiness and interest. Several interesting names stepped forward. One was Sergey Derevyanchenko, who at the time was 12-0 and sat as the #1 ranked contender in the IBF, making him Golovkin's mandatory challenger. Derevyanchenko's attorney through DeBella Entertainment, Alex Domrov, insisted that the IBF should pressure Golovkin to defend against the Ukrainian Olympian or be faced to vacate his title. Derevyanchenko would indeed get a chance to fight for the IBF title, and it would be vacated, but would lose a disputed decision to Danny Jacobs in a bid for it later that year. The other compelling name to step forward was a fresh-faced, bold prospect named Jaime Munguia. At just 21 years of age, Munguia had attracted plenty of buzz for his demolition jobs over novices and gatekeepers in the first 5 years of his career, but hadn't competed in a scheduled 12-rounder or fought as a full-fledged middleweight. It was a bold maneuver for a fighter who had never competed in the senior amateur ranks, turning pro after 100 unpaid bouts as a youth at the age of 16. Unfortunately, the Nevada Commission deemed it too bold and rejected Munguia as an opponent when Team Golovkin requested him. This Saturday, 6 years later, Munguia and Derevyanchenko will face one another, each now in very different places in their careers. Derevyanchenko not only got a crack at the IBF title in 2018 against Jacobs, but did ultimately get to face Golovkin and had a very compelling case to beat him in 2019. It was in the midst of a hard luck streak that saw him drop 4 out of 5 fights, close or even debatable decision losses to Triple G, Carlos Adenis, and Danny J.
So Randy Aldana has earned this title shot here tonight on the strength of a streak of knockouts, the last of which came last September. Brutal up kick to the liver of Macy Chasson. Back in July of 2021, International Fight Week, she defeated Yana Santos in round 1, and then you go back to 2019, a huge KO against Kevin Vieta, and now
Jacobs, and a gutsy effort against Jamal Charlo. The 37-year-old bounced back with a win over Joshua Conley in July of last year, but teeters on the brink of being considered a gatekeeper rather than a contender by the general public after 3 unsuccessful bids for a world title. Where Munguia stands is a little more complex. At 41-0, Munguia has managed to compile one of the sport's most impressive-looking records, but also one of its most frustrating resumes in career arcs, an opinion he shares with his detractors. Where their opinions differ is whose fault is it? Some fans have insisted that while Munguia has always said the right things, that he hasn't taken enough agency over his career and has allowed for more careful matchmaking. Munguia instead places the blame at the feet of his potential opponents. Let me interject here. Jaime Munguia is only 26 years old. Is it really fair to write that he should be taking credence over his career at 26? He's undefeated. Everyone who's been put in front of him, he's beat. I'll continue. We've always pursued high-profile fighters like Golovkin and Charlo, and those fights haven't materialized due to circumstances that are out of our control, said Munguia at a recent media workout at his training camp in Big Bear, California. Charlo hasn't fought in 2.5 years and is still considered the world champion. I'm not sure what his plan is moving forward, but I am ready to face him if he wants to get in the ring with me. For Golovkin, we reached out to him for this fight, and he did return. I think he may be enjoying the vacation. As a 21-year-old, Munguia was lauded as a carefree risk taker, courageous enough to offer to step in against one of the sport's boogeymen. Fast forward to age 26, and Munguia's carefree attitude is construed in an entirely different way, as one driving him to be complacent about pursuing tough tests. One would have to go back to 2018 to his victory over Liam Smith to find the last former, current, or future world champion he faced, seemingly always winding up in the ring with a Plan B opponent, rather than the ones the public wanted and the ones he professed to want to face himself. One complicating factor seems to have been the lack of in-house options for Munguia within the Golden Boy roster. A June 2022 date against PBC's Jamal Charlo was reported to have been all but agreed upon, until the two sides could not agree upon broadcast rights, with Golden Boy seeking the involvement of its home network, DAZN. I was a little sad over how it all turned out, Munguia said. It was a fight for me, a big one, and it would have been a huge fight for boxing. We both agreed to the fight, and I believe the promoters all agreed to the fight as well. Unfortunately, it came down to what network would air the fight. Standing in the way of these big plans is Derevyanchenko, a man who did receive 3 of the opportunities Munguia protests to have wanted, Charlo, Golovkin, and Jacobs, but came up short. Nonetheless, he is still regarded as the toughest test for Munguia in at least 5 years, despite the bout being held at 168, where Derevyanchenko has only fought in tune-up bouts in the past. Munguia's saving grace in the court of public opinion has always been plausible deniability when it comes to his role in matchmaking, and that he's good on the stand, so to speak. He's always said the right things, and more than that, he's generally delivered in the ring. Munguia has been one of the most reliable, entertaining, high-level fighters of the last
Munguia
years.
fights in, I think, an hour.
Lopsided matchups, such as his most recent win over Gonzalo Correa, he's sufficiently blown them away, which is why the discourse surrounding Munguia's career is passionate.
I like Munguia. People hate on Munguia's resume.
Not litigated on message boards, but in the trial by fire, as he requested 5 years ago. Guys, what do you think about the writer of this article? If you want to read it in its entirety and go through it, the link is in the description below. It's another opinionated piece by Corey Erdman. I'm not going to agree with anything that any writer ever says about a fighter dodging fights. I just don't buy that shit. I grew up boxing. I grew up in the sport. I'm from a boxing town. Fighters do not dodge fights. Maybe amateurs, maybe the guy who's kind of hesitant on becoming a pro, but not professionals with at least over 10 career fights. This Jaime Munguia is a dangerous monster. He's a kid still. He's only 26 years old. I'm not going to give Corey Erdman my Knob of the Week award because we already gave that away 2 days ago, but I'm going to put him in the close running because Corey Erdman, the writer of this, knows little about the mindset of boxing. This is a huge test for Munguia. Derevyanchenko is dangerous. I can't wait for this fight. I've been waiting for this fight since it got announced. It's flying under the radar. It is on the same weekend of Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. And then we got to admit, guys, as fans, reporters, journalists, people, purveyors of the sport, ever since Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. got announced, everything's kind of went towards their direction, and it seems like this Munguia-Derevyanchenko fight is flying under the radar. I can't wait for it. It's this weekend. Let me know who you got, Munguia or Derevyanchenko. Leave your answers in the comment section below.
Listen, we want to fight, obviously. And Charlo's the champion. He gets the bigger cut. We all know that. That's common sense. Showtime, yes, you have the fight on Showtime pay-per-view, but I need the zone to participate. They built Jaime Munguia. That's only fair. It's business. More platforms, more pay-per-views, more money for the fighters. What's wrong with that?
I can't find this client info.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform, so it shares its data across every application.
The exchange last night between De La Hoya and
32-year-old former undisputed light welterweight.
No, I only walked off because he was just like, that was a little clip. He just goes away off rail, talks about all sorts of different stuff, making quotes about Mike Tyson, and just talks shit. It's a dream come true, you know. It's another one ticked off the bucket list. You know, there's not many fighters, especially from the other side of the pond, that get the opportunity to box in America. And box at top of the bill at Madison Square Garden or Las Vegas, you know. So this is me done both now, and I'm truly honoured that I'm in these fights. I'm in these massive fights and able to.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the show. Welcome, fight fans, to another episode of Boxing News Today. It is June 4th, 2023. Some not so shocking news coming out of the UK. There's an article currently trending online titled "Josh Taylor Reacts to Teofimo Lopez's Kill Comment and Dares Him to Try." Josh Taylor doesn't take Teofimo Lopez seriously about him saying that he wants to kill him on June 10th in their fight on ESPN. WBO light welterweight champion Taylor, 19-0, 13 knockouts, dares the New Yorker Teofimo to try to hurt him, and he'll wind up in the back of an ambulance. Teofimo's career is arguably on the line for this fight because he cannot afford to lose. He'll get passed up by some of the talented fighters in the 140-pound division, fighters like Arnold Barboza Jr., Richardson Hitchens, and Gary Russell. Most believe Teofimo will lose to Taylor, and his career will continue its downward trajectory, ending with Top Rank dumping him once his contract ends. Former unified lightweight champion Lopez, 18-1, 13 knockouts, will be challenging for a world title in his third fight at 140 after moving up from 135 last August. Unfortunately, Teofimo hasn't looked spectacular in his two fights in the 140-pound division, laboring against Pedro Campa and Sandor Martin. Teo hasn't looked right since his loss to George Kambosos Jr. in 2021, and there are signs that he is physically and mentally not the same fighter he once was. Here's a quote from Taylor about the comment that Lopez made that he was going to kill him. "The last fight, I take a bit of a pinch of salt. Well, we've all had bad performances. I wasn't great in my last fight either," said Josh Taylor about Lopez's last fight against Sandor Martin. "I don't really care. I'll prepare for the best version of Lopez. Hey, I think the guy's a bit of a tool. He's a space cadet," said Taylor on why he walked out of his interview with Teofimo. "Come and try and take my life, and let's see who's the one that ends up in the back of an ambulance. Let them come and try. We'll see what happens," said Taylor, reacting to Teofimo recently saying that he wants to kill him inside of the ring. A lot of eyes will be on the 32-year-old former undisputed light welterweight champion Taylor, who hasn't fought since his controversial 12-round split decision win over Jack Catterall 16 months ago in February 2022. Many boxing fans felt that Taylor should have lost that fight. It is important that Taylor not only wins on June 10th, but also looks good in doing so, to remind the fans that he's still the same fighter that beat Regis Prograis and Jose Ramirez. However, those were both grueling wars, and they may have taken something out of Taylor, leaving the vulnerable fighter we saw struggling against Catterall. Taylor and Teofimo will be taking place at the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden, New York City. Guys, as this date comes closer and closer, it'll be next week, Saturday, June 10th. I'm actually getting more and more excited. When it first got announced, I'm not going to lie, it didn't really move me that much, but maybe I'm just a boxing nerd, a fight fanatic, who knows? But it's intriguing, and this is why we love boxing, is the drama and the storylines that go into it. Let me know who you guys got in this fight. Do you agree with the writer of this article, Jim Calfa, when he says that Lopez hasn't been right physically or mentally since the Kambosos fight? Also, do you think Taylor lost a little bit too much against Ramirez and Catterall? All that aside, who do you got winning on the 10th? Taylor or Teo? Let me know in the comment section below.
No, don't react. It's good. Let them come and try and take my life. And let's see who's the one that ends up in the back of an ambulance. So I say, that might be horrible to comment back, but let them come and try. We'll see what happens. The more good on them. Good on 'em.
Booking.com, we know how to travel.
Oh, well, everybody know who I want next. I want Terry Crawford next. You're gonna make that happen? That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. And like I said, I'm gonna get these straps and I'm gonna go over there and take his shit too. Man down, strap season. I know what time it is, baby. Terry's are coming for that motherfucking belt.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the show. Welcome, fight fans, to another episode of Boxing News Today. It is June 4th, 2023. Guys, today we're going to take a trip down memory lane, per se. We're going to rewind the clock a little over a year. I'm going to take you guys back to the night of April 16th, 2022. Our location is Arlington, Texas, the U.S. And we're at AT&T Stadium in the ring with Errol Spence Jr. after he defeated Yordenis Ugas by TKO in the 10th round. This victory allowed Spence to retain his WBC and IBF welterweight titles, as well as winning the WBA super welterweight title. But that's not the point of the story. It was in this moment that Spence Jr., unbeknownst to him, gave us, the boxing community, the greatest gift by calling out Terrence Crawford. Now, it has been 14 months since this call out, and by the time they actually fight Bud and Spence on July 29, 2023, it'll be 15 months. But at least we can say, through the manifest and the well wishes of Errol Spence Jr., we're finally going to get the fight that we've all been asking for. So, enjoy this trip down memory lane, because this flashback is why, on the 29th of July, we'll all be able to witness two welterweights, two of the best of their generation.
You gotta train hard,
Go
stay
at it.
focused, listen to my coach, and, just stay out the way. What's next? Oh, well, everybody know who I want next. I want Terry Crawford next.
You're gonna make that happen?
Huh?
You're gonna make that happen?
Oh, definitely. That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. Like I said, I'm going to get these straps and I'm going to go over there and take his shit too.
All right. Errol, congratulations. Terrific fight to see.
Thank you. Man down. Strap season. I know what time it is, baby. Terrence, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt.
All right.
If your tree suddenly drops a branch, you'll be glad you chose home insurance, which can help. Let Bendigo Bank help ensure you're covered for times like this. Visit your local branch, call Call us or find us online.
Crazy, bro. Just the judge, she knocked me up because basically I bought him property. I did everything in my power to listen to my lawyers, spend life in this situation because I just know she's taking advantage of me.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
And she's doing stuff not right.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the show. Welcome, fight fans, to another episode of Boxing News Today. It is June 5th, 2023. In some news breaking from Baltimore, Maryland, there's an Instagram live phone call that's currently going viral right now as we speak online. And that is with Tank Davis from his jail cell, in which he spreads a little bit of light on his situation behind bars, the 90-day sentence that was passed down to him from the judge, also his opinion on why he is in prison. Now, I'm going to read the article by Adam Baskin before I add my conjecture, and at the end, we'll talk about it. If you want to read Adam's full article, the link is in the show notes. But remember, this is his opinion first. The incarcerated face of boxing, Gervonta Davis, took to Instagram from jail to complain about the judge that put him in the joint, saying that she's mad that he bought an apartment during his 90-day home detention. It's unclear what purpose Gervonta is trying to accomplish by complaining about the judge. Does he think that his jail sentence will be revoked and he'll be able to return to the luxury apartment he recently purchased? The judge obviously wanted Tank Davis to take accountability for what he did and not enjoy himself on vacation in an expensive penthouse apartment overlooking the city. You can argue that she was letting him off light to begin with by giving him the option of 90-day house arrest at his trainer Ford's home. Even if it was only a one-bedroom apartment, it's better than staying in jail. Unfortunately for the 28-year-old, he broke the rules of what the judge had asked him to do by not staying at his trainer Calvin Ford's home and purchased a $30.4 million penthouse apartment and was choosing to stay there instead. Tank had been given a 90-day sentence for his 2020 hit-and-run car crash that injured 4 people. He reportedly left the scene. Instead of the Baltimore judge giving the popular boxer a jail term, she said he could do 90 days of home detention, but he would need to stay at his trainer's home. The real question is whether Gervonta was confused about what the judge's instructions were for his 90-day home detention. This is a quote. "The judge is crazy, bro. She locked me up because basically I bought a property. I get everything in my power to listen to my lawyers for home detention. I listen to everybody, to the team," said Gervonta Davis on Instagram Live from his jail cell after breaking his 90-day house arrest. "She's mad that I bought a property," Tank continued with his rant about the judge that sentenced him. "That's why I'm here. She said she wanted me to be in my apartment, a one-bedroom apartment. I couldn't even take that. She wanted me to stay in a one-bedroom. I couldn't even have my kids come and visit. I just wanted to spread light on this situation because I feel like she's taking advantage of me. The things that she's doing now is not right," said Tank Davis from jail. You know what? What do you guys think about this? I'm not going to say I disagree with Tank on the judge. You know, it's making decisions based on making it personal. The one-bedroom apartment and his kids and his family, I mean, that's a valid point. He still wants to see his family. Now, here's the issue, though. Going live on Instagram to talk about this, that's where you got to think about the circle of influence. We've been tracking Tank Davis's career for about a year and a half now. And this is something that is a common theme from my end when I'm always talking about how I feel Tank could better his career. I'm a huge Tank Davis fan. I want to see him out of jail. I want to see him do well. I want to see him around people who support those ideas. If that means he needs new trainers, new coaches, new people, new city, then so be it. Sometimes in rehabilitation, they say the best way to turn a new page and turn a new leaf is to turn a new chapter by changing things up. We'll see what happens when he gets out of jail. Hopefully he gets out early. Hopefully we see him in the ring before long. And I'm predicting that he changes things up. Maybe Baltimore's not the best place for him. We'll see what happens. I don't agree with him going on live, though, Instagram. I don't think that's a good or wise move, even talking about the judge, even talking about the case. Let me know what you guys think of this whole situation in the comment section below.
The whole potential, people, I listen to everybody to the T. She said that I bought a property. That's why I was sitting in jail. She said that I shouldn't. She wanted me to be in an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean? And I couldn't, take that. You know what I mean? She wanted me to be in a one-bedroom apartment because I had my kids and things like that. I just want to spread light in this situation because I just know she's taking advantage of me. You have 30 seconds.
Shut up and take my money!
I just want to go online and let y'all know, happy birthday to my little youngin'. You chilling up the side of the food, it's late night. Hey, when they release me, I'm knocking that bitch out from Australia. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Yeah, just a motherfucker run his mouth, talk. You gotta get confirmation from all the motherfuckers that you fought somebody because, you know, like, I've done my due diligence in the world of boxing. I want people to call me the king. I've been the king. I'm the king. You gotta go try to, you know what Tony Harrison told me, you know, you got this staircase over here. You know.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and enjoy the show. Welcome, fight fans, to another episode of Boxing News Today. It is June 5th, 2023. Some fighting words coming out of the camp of Jermell Charlo. Animosity being directly targeting Tim Tszyu. We're going to go over a post that Charlo recently created on his Instagram live feed in which, and I quote, on Tim Tszyu, he says, "I'm knocking that bitch out." Jermell Charlo piped up on social media tonight, sending a warning message to his WBO mandatory Tim Tszyu that he's going to knock him out when he returns to the ring. Jermell didn't say on his video when he plans on starting his training camp. He obviously can't do that right now because his trainer, Derek James, is training Errol Spence for his July 29th fight against Terrence Crawford. Hanging out by the pool, the inactive, undisputed junior middleweight champion Charlo, 35-1 with 19 KOs, reminded Tszyu that he's the king of the 154-pound division. Jermell has been out of the ring for over a year, dealing with a broken arm. He should have